Hey everyone and welcome to the channel. Today, we're checking out something pretty cool, the new Packout Tap Die Set from Milwaukee. Now I know what you're thinking, do I really need another tap and die set? Well, maybe, maybe not. But this one's got some cool features and I want to see if it's actually worth the hype or just another red toolbox filler. If that sounds like something you're into, hang around to see how this one turns out. So it's been a little while since my last upload. Life got in the way, as it tends to do, but we're back at it, and today's video is a little different from my usual projects, because this is my first tool review. Now I don't normally do reviews, but when I saw this handle set, I figured it was worth talking about. We've got ourselves a 38-piece metric set that we'll be taking a look at today. Taps, dies, a thread gauge, and the handle that drew me to this project from the get-go. But let's crack it open and see what's inside. First impressions, and it does come in its own little pack-out tray. Love it or hate it, it is a nice touch. All of the taps and dies in this set are a black oxide coated carbon steel that covers M3 to M12, which we'll take a look at shortly, but they do have these pretty sweet laser etchings. Now I'm not sure I needed a gold looking thread gauge, but we do have that, and it goes up to a 3mm pitch. But this is the thing I really wanted to take a look at. This die handle takes 1-inch hex dies, but it has these cool little detents that holds the die in place. And I don't know what it is about detents, but this sound. The party trick to this hex lock system is the tap T handle. Now it does come with a little bar like any other T handle, but hang on, what's retaining that? There's a little spring recessed in there to stop the bar from falling out. It's actually a really nice touch, it's very clever. But the real trick is that the hex on the top of the tap holder also fits into the die handle and detents in. Why do I always feel the need to shake everything? These little grooves line up with the ball bearings and make that lock in very nicely. Let's take a little closer look at the die handle. It's about 225mm or 9 inches long, which seems a bit longer than the cheap ones we all know and love. They seem to be around about 200mm or 8 inches long. And this thing is hefty. I know Milwaukee's thing is nothing but heavy duty, but damn. For a little context, my cheapo die handle comes in at about 80 grams. Which, let's be honest, it's probably too light. But the Milwaukee one? It's 5 times the weight. And the T-handle follows the same theme. Cheap ones usually suck, but the Milwaukee one actually feels really solid in the hand. With the hex collet inserted, the die handle measures around 80mm or 3¼ inches overall, which isn't bad, but I could see it being a little limiting. For context, these little ones are only about 60mm or 2½ inches long. My main concern is that with the smaller taps, all that extra mass is going to work against you and want to be inclined to snap the tap. But it does feel great on bigger taps. Plenty of heft and plenty of control. Not to mention, the machining fit and finish on this Milwaukee one is pretty slick. I really do appreciate the nice long handle though. Another thing that's probably just going to help me snap more taps, but it still feels nice. And just to make sure that horse is dead, the final weight check. 630 grams, or in freedoms, just over 22 ounces. And now for the taps and dies. This is a carbon steel set, not high-speed steel. My understanding is that they're designed for more cleaning up damaged threads, rather than making new ones. So I guess we need some damaged threads? Ever try to cross-thread a nut on purpose? Seems like one of those things I can only do when it's really critical that it doesn't happen. Tap tap. Hugga dugga. And yep, that is looking properly messed up. Okay, let's see what this can do. That actually worked, but maybe I didn't damage the thread enough. Let's really flatten out those threads and see how we go. Okay, cool. That works. And just to check the taps, here's the nut that got stripped by the impact at the start. I'll clip this all together and run it through. So it cleans threads just fine, but I'm sure it's not designed for this. Let's see how it does with cutting new threads in cold rolled steel. I've got it turned down to 12mm for an M12 thread. Let's see how this goes. And it does work. Kinda. I'm actually really surprised for how easily it cuts for carbon steel dies, but I don't know if it's the handle or what exactly, but I could not cut a straight thread with this setup. I had 3 goes at it. I do this kind of stuff quite a lot with other handles, and I don't seem to have this much trouble. It could be me doing something dumb, or maybe the die just moves enough in the handle to make it a real luck thing, but I just couldn't make it work. But the thread itself actually looks really good, and measures up pretty close to spec. Just a little wonky. The tap though in 1-inch plate worked a lot better, stayed straight and took the bolt like a champ. This is a cool little setup for a specific task. Now, it's not the cheapest thing out there. At the time of recording, this kit comes in at $275 Australian. I think if you're someone who works on site a lot and comes across threads that need cleaning or repairing often, this would be a cool thing to have slotted in with your Packout. But I'm not sure it replaces the traditional gear you'd use for making new threads in a workshop. But the handle setup is a really cool concept, and it does work nicely on the larger taps if you need a bit more heft. And that's about all I've got. Is this one on your shop wish list? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for hanging around, everyone. If you liked the video, give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks guys, see you on the next one.